Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox. I would like to welcome you to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is the series where I discuss books which impact the compliance practitioner, the legal professional, and the business professional. I hope you will enjoy this episode. The Sunday Book Review for August 1, 2021, the Mostly Science edition. Today we have 3 books about science, and one book, which is not science yet, has a Texas connection. If you live in a state like I do where science is not respected nor even listened to, it might be a good time to read some books about science because there's lots of idiots out there who don't think we should be studying science. We begin with Half-Lives, The Unlikely History of Radium. And this is a book about Marie Curie and her discovery of radium. Half-Lives tells a fascinating, curious, and sometimes macabre story of this element through its ascendance as a desirable item, present for a queen, etc., to its role in supposed cure-all of everyday life in the 20th century. Lucy Jane Santos, the author, delves into the stories of these products and details the gradual downfall and discredit of radium industry through the eyes of people who bought, sold, and eventually fear the one fetished chemical. Next up, This Is Your Mind on Plants by Michael Pollan. This book is a unique history of science, memoir, and history, as well as participatory journalism, as the author examines and experiences plants from several different angles and contexts and shines a fresh light on a subject too often treated reductively as a drug, whether illicit or illicit. But that is one of the least interesting things you can say about these plants. As Pollan shows, we take them into our bodies and let them change our minds, engaging with nature in one of the most profound ways. Based on an essay published some 25 years ago, this groundbreaking and singular consideration of psychoactive plants and our attention to them holds up a mirror to the fundamental need of humans and aspirations in the operations of our minds. Next up, Undoing Drugs by Maia, Szalavitz. Drug overdoses now kill more Americans than cars, guns, or breast cancer. But the U.S. has yet to solve the national crisis, and indeed its policies have only made matters worse. In a spellbinding narrative rooted in an urged call to action, Undoing Drugs tells the untold story of a quirky political movement that has unexpectedly shaken the foundation of world drug policy. It illustrates how hard it can be to take on a widely accepted conventional thinking, which is necessary to overcome that resistance. Undoing Drugs offers a path forward led by characters who spent many years being dismissed as worthless, only develop a breakthrough philosophy that could dramatically improve world health. And our last book is a little bit different focus, and it is Kennedy's Avenger, Assassination, Conspiracy, and the Forgotten Trial of Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby, of course, killed Lee Harvey Oswald, the assassin of JFK. And probably no crime had more eyewitnesses in history than that murder. It has helped create conspiracy theories that resonate today. Under the long shadow cast by the assassination of the former president, few would remember the bizarre trial held in Dallas 3 months later. How does one defend a man who is seen pulling the trigger in front of millions? And more importantly, how did Jack Ruby kill Oswald point blank on TV? Featuring a colorful cast of characters, including the then one of the nation's top flamboyant lawyers against the toughest-nails Texas prosecutor, the authors unveil astonishing detail behind the first major trial of the television century. If you're interested at all around the Kennedy assassination, you may not even remember that Jack Ruby actually went to trial. And the authors have what he would have said if he'd been called to testify. It's a great read, a fascinating book, and a little sturdy part of American history. One of the most ubiquitous terms we've heard of in 2021 is ESG. I recently premiered the ESG report, where I take a look at ESG, slice it and dice it in multiple different ways, but primarily from the angle of the compliance professional and the compliance perspective. So check out the ESG report on the Compliance Podcast Network. Finally, on Compliance Man, this season we're looking at the questions of true or false as Tim Basanov, Katarov, and I pose a question and then ask whether it's true or false. The Compliance Man brings the perspective of the compliance professional in emerging markets. Check it out.